There are some game developers that when they put out a game, you just are expecting a certain quality level, and some of those developers are of course at the elite level. I'll point to studios like Naughty Dog, a Sony Santa Monica studio, a lot of the Nintendo first-party studios, Rockstar. These are studios you can always rely on to give you a great game. One of those studios that in recent years, probably in the last decade or so, I know that's going back a little bit, but one that's really hit that elite tier in terms of a quality studio that consistently puts out incredible games is From Software. It really all started with Demon Souls as far as their name recognition goes. Of course, From Software created games long before that, but Demon Souls was really what put them on the map in terms of a mainstream level. Then they got picked up by Bandai Namco, the Dark Souls games were put out, and of course the rest is history at this point. You might also remember Bloodborne, a PlayStation 4 exclusive. That game was tremendous as well, but every single game that they've put out in the last 10 years or so, even Addressing that was a PlayStation VR title, that game was very good as well. And now comes their latest game in Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and it is building up an incredible amount of anticipation as we are just 10 days away from the release of Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. And I want to talk about my initial perception of the game and why I think gamers are just so excited for this game. And yes, while this isn't a Dark Souls game or a Bloodborne follow-up, I think a lot of gamers were hoping that From Software would be putting out a Bloodborne follow-up. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, at least at a surface level, follows a similar formula to the Soulsborne titles as well, in terms of it being a very challenging action-adventure title. And I emphasize the fact of it being challenging because that really seems like a From Software go-to now, in that if you're experiencing a game from them, especially if it is one that's developed as an action-adventure game, you're expecting a certain level of challenge. And the director of the title, Hidetaka Miyazaki, actually went as far as to say that Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is the toughest game that they've ever made, which is kind of shocking. Now, really speaking, are the Soulsborne games really that difficult? I mean, if you compare them to some of the games from yesteryear, say on the NES, the Super Nintendo, some of the games back in the 90s, really, the Soulsborne titles aren't all too challenging. If you compare them to some of the action-oriented titles today, yeah, they are a little bit more difficult, but I never find those games to be unfair. But definitely to a more mainstream audience that is consumed with mainstream titles, they're gonna find the games a little bit more challenging than most, and that's great for them because that does give them something to get invested into. In terms of Sekiro, if the game is in fact considerably more difficult than the Soulsborne titles, I really want to see how far they can take it without pushing people away. I don't think Sekiro is going to get to that point, especially because at the end of the day, all you really have to remain is a satisfying and rewarding experience. Barring the challenge altogether, if it is satisfying and rewarding, gamers are going to stick around. On a personal level, the Soulsborne games have always interested me, but with Sekiro, my anticipation is even more heightened than some of the previous games, and maybe that's due to the presentation, the setting. And if you guys are unaware, Sekiro will have you explore the late 1500s in Sengoku, Japan, a brutal period of constant life and death conflict. Of course, it's not all realism in the game. You're gonna come face to face with larger-than-life foes in a dark and twisted world, and you'll unleash an arsenal of deadly prosthetic tools, and that's really one of the main points of Sekiro. The prosthetics you're gonna have in your arsenal, you're gonna have powerful ninja abilities while you blend stealth, vertical traversal, and visceral head-to-head combat in a bloody confrontation. What I've really noticed about Sekiro is from a combat standpoint, it does look like there's gonna be a lot more variety in how you want to tackle each different scenario. That's gonna vary from person to person. Yes, the Soulsborne titles did have a little bit of that, but with Sekiro, they're highlighting the stealth elements, they're highlighting vertical traversal, and they're highlighting all of these different elements that you're gonna have at your disposal. So I think it's gonna make each playthrough even more diverse from person to person, and just going back through the game multiple times, I think you're gonna notice a lot of different things. And also, unlike the Soulsborne titles, Sekiro has a story that's a little bit more in your face. Of course, Souls does have a story, and it's a pretty intricate one if you actually look into it, but Sekiro looks to be a title that tells the story to your face. In Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, you are the one-armed wolf, a disgraced and disfigured warrior rescued from the brink of death. Bound to protect a young lord who is the descendant of an ancient bloodline, you become the target of many vicious enemies, including a dangerous clan. When the young lord is captured, nothing will stop you on a perilous quest to regain your honor, not even death itself. And of course, not death itself scaring you, that element of Shadows Die Twice comes into play. But going back to the story, I'm absolutely not expecting something as riveting as some of the best storytelling in gaming today. However, I am expecting the story to be presented in a different way, and that's another element that's kind of different from the Souls titles, even though for a lot of people that are more casually interested in this game, I see a lot of people just seeing Sekiro as Dark Souls 4, and it's absolutely not that. And going back to the element of Shadows Die Twice, of course, that has been one of the most promoted elements of the game. When you die, you have an option to resurrect at the spot that you were defeated in. Now, this ability is available for free once per checkpoint, but it'll consume all your resources afterwards. To resurrect again, you must defeat enemies to refill their resurrection ability. So that's gonna add another layer to the gameplay, and that's what I always commend From Software for, it seems like even though they have a formula that really works and a formula that they could stick to for a very long time, they always try to add some variety, they always try to differentiate that formula, and even with an element like this, it could hinder the experience, but they're trying something different, and that's what I've noticed about From Software. They're always willing to try something different. I mean, after they finished Dark Souls 3, even after as commercially successful as those games were, they went out and said, we want to try something different. That's why they brought forth Dresine on the PlayStation VR, and that's why Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, while yes, it is a challenging action-oriented title, it is bringing forth a lot of differences when compared to the Souls titles. And I also want to add to the fact that this is a game that looks to have an incredible amount of replayability to it. Not only does it seem like from a point of gameplay design and level design that it's going to allow for a lot of variety in how you tackle every different scenario, and again, that was evident a little bit in the Souls titles, but not to the extent of Sekiro. I really think they're raising the bar in that regards. But you also have a lot of different elements, such as NPCs having different quest lines, so there's going to be a lot more quests for you guys to tackle, and like the previous Souls games, this is building upon that. There are multiple endings to the game, so that inherently is going to give you a lot of replay value as well. And with skills and skill trees being in the game, that's going to provide character progression, and how you develop your character is going to be an integral part of the game, just like it was in Souls. So it's not changing up everything, it is carrying over a lot of the elements, but that's strictly at a fundamental level. If you actually assess every piece of the game, it is far, far different. And to me, it's developed into something very compelling. And going back to the replayability, exploration is a key element in Sekiro. You're going to experience the thrill of exploration and discovery. And they're touting that it's going to be far different than previous From Software titles. Through exploration, you can uncover new items, meet new characters, and again, with you uncovering these different characters, that's going to lead to an extended amount of content in the game, but that's on you to discover. And you'll be able to encounter hidden enemies, about everything you would expect out of exploration, but again, the exploration just seems to be heightened in Sekiro compared to other titles. And of course, with any From Software title, you have to talk about the weaponry and what you're gonna have in your arsenal. Well, the game only features 2 katanas as the main weapons. One katana is used for boss executions, and those are called shinobi executions. However, there are multiple prosthetic tools. There are weapons, defensive options, a grappling hook, a firecracker used to distract or stun enemies, a shuriken launcher, the loaded axe, which is used to overpower enemy shields, a prosthetic spear, a steel umbrella, which opens up like a shield, and many, many more. I've been talking about the variety and diversity and how you tackle every scenario. Well, now you have a slew of different weapons and equipment available in your arsenal, and that's definitely going to make gameplay a lot more refreshing. It's not going to be that stagnant standard gameplay that we've seen a lot from a lot of other games. There looks to be an insane amount of variety, and when you couple all of the different weapons that are available in the game, all of the different tools that are available in the game, along with a different style of level design, the vertical traversal, the stealth elements, man, I think variety and diversity in how you tackle the situations in Sekiro is really key. There are going to be a lot of different options, and from a player standpoint, that is really great, because not only do you have the traditional elements offering replayability like multiple endings, quest lines, all that good stuff, but you also have that natural offering of replayability where the game design and how the game was created from a fundamental gameplay standpoint, with there being so many different weapons, with the level design being the way that it is, that just naturally opens the door for the game to always be engaging and offering multiple playthroughs, and I would imagine that multiple playthroughs would be engaging as well. That's just speculation on my part, but based on the information and the gameplay we've seen, that is the conclusion that I am drawing. Now, there is one point of contention with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It's not even a big deal anymore, but of course this game isn't being published by Bandai Namco. The game isn't being self-published by From Software. It of course isn't being published by Sony. It is being published by Activision, which inherently gives gamers a little bit of skepticism, but based on how I'm seeing the game turn out, based on the fact that there will be no microtransactions, man, I am expecting something incredible out of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and it is really an early contender for Game of the Year, and I'm confident in saying that even before the game's been released, because again, it is From Software. It's just one of those studios that when they put out a game, you know it's gonna be at an elite quality level, and if Sekiro does deliver, I already see From Software at the level of Naughty Dog and Rockstar and all of the great studios in the world today, but I think if Sekiro does deliver at an elite level, I think more gamers are gonna start seeing From Software as one of the best studios in gaming today. That's gonna conclude this video. I hope I was able to heighten your anticipation for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It seems like the majority of you guys are already super excited for the game. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Of course, the game will be out on March 22nd, so we're just 10 days away from the release. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.